From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a big afternoon for August 14th, 2022, with a big series of major developing details this week. More earnings are going to be released, and we'll see whether those earnings recessions are continuing to grow or softening. Meantime, we'll have the latest details on inflation. After a week in which inflation softened in some regards, but not in other regards, we'll go over the latest details to see for a big week on hand today. Plus, we'll be looking at those labor numbers, and we'll also be looking at those big benefit raises. Lifetime benefits, massive stimulus. This is enormous sums of money that will be paying you stimulus over your entire generation of your lifetime. We'll go over everything you need to know and why it's incredible. Plus, we'll be looking at those 4 stimulus checks in every U.S. state. You want to get those big sums of money. What are they? They're a lot of money. Step 1, become a member. Step 2, go under this video and join the channel. And step 3, get ready for the broadcast you wanted to hear. It's today. It's right now. And what is it? You have met a series of stimulus checks on this channel over the last few weeks, but today, oh boy, passed. P-A-S-S-E-D. Passed 7 more stimulus checks. Yes, we have 7 new stimulus checks for members in today's recording. Oh boy, this is on top of those lifetime stimulus checks that are coming up early in the recording as well. A lot of money. And for members, congratulations, you endured it. You can get the big news and their big checks. We're going to go over everything you need to know about these checks. Some of them are over $14,000. It's a big day, and we're going to go over the latest details you need to know. Plus, we'll have a preview of what's going on this new week, inflation, recession, labor, Federal Reserve, and lobster shorts. Well, not lobster shorts. We'll forgo those for now. But we have a lot of other breaking details to go over left and right. We'll have the latest details on why the Wall Street analysts are really bifurcated on this market. And some think that there's a recession, some think there's not a recession. Some think that the inflation's peaked, others think that the inflation could go higher. And we'll have the latest details on what you need to know to gauge it conservatively, with a major financial cliff just days away. Step 1, go under this video, become a member. Step 2, get those incredible 4 stimulus checks in every U.S. state. And step 3, stay to the big second half. We're going to go over all these big sums of money. It's a major recording. This is the recording you wanted to see. This is the recording that's happening. And all the breaking news starts right now on a big afternoon for August 14th, 2022. Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're having a beautiful day. It's August 14th, 2022 from the shores of Santa Monica, California, where it's a little bit warmer today. Earnings recession will be warmer as well, as many major companies continue to miss, but some companies beating. We'll go over the latest details you need to know, plus the raise of your benefits. Depending on whether inflation's peaked, we'll go over the latest details on what we saw last week, and you know what's going to happen this week. More details for those home builders, the home sales that give you an indication of where inflation is. You want to become a member, go right in this video, because this is all on this channel, and those 4 stimulus checks in every U.S. state we're going to go over as well. And yes, this is the broadcast you've been waiting for a while. The broadcast to see and meet and be introduced to new stimulus checks. And we're going to go over those new stimulus checks, no less than 7 of them, passed this weekend. It's really incredible, great news. It is huge because guess what? There's a financial cliff just days away. In my prediction, it's September. And there's a lot of money to go over in today's recording, but of course, we're going to start with the major breaking news that you need to know. It's a day like any other, but we're going to go over the economy, your recession, your inflation, your benefit raises. The latest details on the housing market, your unemployment, and your 4 stimulus. The breaking news starts right now on a big afternoon's broadcast of Afternoons LA. Hope you're having a beautiful day. It is warmer here in Southern California. Oh, my goodness. And there was a new report out yesterday that said that there could be a calamity hitting California, but it's somewhere in the next 90 years. So somewhere in the next 90 years. By then, lobster shorts will be in fashion, I'm predicting. No, I'm not predicting that. I just hate those reports that say there's going to be calamity in the next 100 years. Well, I'm just trying to survive to evenings LA. So that's my focus for today. How you doing? The great news is that there is now 7 new stimulus checks. 7 new stimulus checks passed over this weekend, and this is on top of the lifetime stimulus that I'm going to go over as well. boy, what a big broadcast. You didn't see this coming, did you? It's not with a side of bacon. But let's get to the breaking news starting right now. The breaking news is that there is major issues with this economy, and this economy is really not shored up, and the details on the way that this economy is going is purely in dispute even today. Let's go over why the dispute grows, and it started no less than a few weeks ago. It started with those Walmart earnings a few weeks ago when Walmart guided downward, and those earnings recessions continued to implode after that. Chipotle, everything from Snap and Twitter, the social media companies, the tech companies, that earnings recession could grow left to right. When we jump over to labor, you and I have had big problems with understanding the labor as well. I mean, we all have big problems understanding this. How can you have the number of jobless claims every Thursday, now the worst level of 2022, at 260,000, and then you have the non-farm payroll that releases the unemployment rate once a month at the lowest unemployment rate of since the 1960s. If that doesn't sound conflicting enough, then we have inflation potentially peaking, but then some analysts saying that inflation may go higher, and then we have the dispute about whether a recession's upon us and whether a recession's not upon us. And this, my friends, is why you have to get that forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. This is why you got to err on caution, because if no one can agree upon very simple premises like recession, inflation, corporate earnings, then you have to err on caution. The only thing you don't have to err on caution is those lifetime benefits. Those lifetime benefits that are going up, we're going to go over those in just a second. We're going to start with the breaking news minutes ago, which is that there is now 7 more stimulus checks. 7 more stimulus checks. And where do they come from? A major piece of legislation passed by Congress over this weekend. Those 7 stimulus checks, which I'm lettering affectionately starting at the letter D, continue all the way to the letter K, and they will be featured in the membership newsletter starting this Monday, because this is a Sunday, for August 15th. They're incredible, and they are huge. It's 7 of them. The first one is $7,500. The next one is $4,000. That's check F. Check E is $7,500. Check F is $4,000. Check G is a percentage check. Check H is up to $2,000. Check I. Let me turn the page. I can't keep track of all this. Check I and check K are up to $8,000 each, and then did I say that wrong? I and J up to $8,000 each, and then K is up to $14,000. Wow, that's a lot, and that was in one breath. I think I held my breath through those letters. So let's do that again. If that was a lot to digest, check E will be $7,500. Check F will be $4,000. Check K will be a percentage, 30%. Check H will be up to $2,000. Check I and J will be $8,000. Check K will be $14,000. Wow. Wow. Been with this channel for a while. This is what I do. I fight every single penny. And to tell you the truth, this article is buried. I was just flipping around. I thought I was going to get prepared for some recessionary reports today. You know, it's a Sunday. And then suddenly this popped out. And you know what I immediately did? I copy and paste and I notepadded and saved every detail of it, because I expected within 2 hours the story would be gone, be buried, it wouldn't be covered anywhere else, because this is really just like March. Remember in March when people said, LA, can you find me a stimulus check in every U.S. state? And I did that. And even then when I found those checks, I sensed that they would have gone from the front of whatever page of reporting they were that day. And they were. They never were around ever again. So I immediately copied and saved and put it in there. You don't have to worry about that. Why? Because you're a member. Why? Because you get this in the membership newsletter. And start on the membership newsletter. If you're a member, it will be featured on the Monday, August 15th newsletter and every day thereafter. It will be labeled as check E, like Edward, to K, like kite. And it'll send you to another page, because I know it's a lot of details. It can't be fit in. There's a word limit on the newsletter. So we'll be sending you to another external page for you to read through. Wow. And if you've been hearing what I've been telling you for a while, LALATE, the second new channel, and LALATE are about to launch. LALATE is about stimulus. This is exactly what is up the course for LALATE. This came out of nowhere, and I'm very excited for you across the board. The other major details that is for everyone is the incredible breaking news of that lifetime stimulus. Lifetime stimulus. Wow. Lifetime stimulus is happening. And where's that lifetime stimulus happening from? It's happening from my beneficiaries. My beneficiaries are going to get a lifetime stimulus, the biggest payout of a generation, and it's lifetime. And we're going to go over that amount of money in just a second. But first, let's go over why it's happening, and then we'll go over how it calculates and everything you need to know thereafter. Lifetime stimulus. This means you're getting more money every month for the rest of your lifetime. I've never had stimulus like this ever on this channel. I'm so excited for you. This is everything we've ever wanted. Why? Inflation has not peaked, or has peaked, and it's really, really high. Let's go over the equation at issue. Your benefits are tied to something called COLA, cost of living adjustment, and it's determined by another number. And that number is the CPI-W. It was released last week, and it showed that it had really basically been flat compared to the month before. Well, 3 months of that CPI-W, the July released in August 10th, the August one released in September, about September 10th, and the September one released in October, around October 10th, to determine how much your benefits go up. But we saw this back in the month of May. Back in the month of May, the benefits got the real great news as inflation surged higher in the month of May. Then the month of June surged even higher. We waited to see the data for July this last week, and it basically was flat. If you were watching every video that week, I ran the quotes and listening to people saying, oh, it was softening or lightening. Even LALATE.com, the website, had to use a verb, so we used adjective or adverb. Softening or lightening, but it was basically flat. And let's go over what those numbers are, and we'll also look at what numbers we're going to see about inflation this week as well, because remember, we need 3 months of data, not just 1 month of data. The issue at hand is, where is inflation? Because this is what calculates your benefits. It started in the month of May, when we were trying to see whether inflation had peaked or not. And then we had the CPI beat, PPI beat, and also the retail sales beat, July 13th, July 14th, July 15th. We knew that we had to see this data this last week. Why? Let's recap. Back in the month of July, we saw the CPI surge for May and June. Let's recap those numbers. May was really good, really high. Good meaning high, 8.6%. Then the month of June, it came in what? At a whopping 9.1%. My goodness. That massive lift at that time signaled that benefits are going to go up a lot, but we need to see more data, specifically the 3 months that count. There's only 3 months to count, and they are the month of July, August, and September. And the first data for July we knew was going to come in on August 10th, and you were really good on top of the money. I got to tell you, you tuned on August 10th. You tuned into this channel on August 10th like there was nobody's business. You really knew that August 10th was a critical day. So let's go over what we got in that August 10th read, and then let's go over what happened the day after. On August 10th, the CPI for the month of July was released, and it was basically flat, 8.5%. It showed that it was basically a slight pull down. The slight pull down was nominal. It was basically a 0.5 percentage point. But here's what's interesting, and we discussed it that day. When you remove the culprit that brought down the CPI, the rest of the benchmark was actually higher. Why did the CPI go down on August 10th? The top line number, the summary number, the title number, the 8.5%. Why did it go down? Because of gasoline. Gasoline's been pulling down. But when you remove gasoline from the equation, then the individual numbers actually went up, which is called the core, the meat and potatoes. The core CPI actually went up in the month of July compared to the month of June, rose 5.9% annualized, and even rose month to date, 0.3%. In fact, when you look at food compared to the prior month, food actually went up. And food and butter went up as well. And in fact, these rises per year to date are huge. Butter's up 27% year to date. And food is up the highest level since 1979. Making you hungry? It's not. Eggs are up 38%. My cholesterol's hitting. I don't have cholesterol. It's just for the joke, for the sake of it. And then coffee's up 20%. I can't go without my coffee. Here was the big one. And you and I discussed this because why is it so important? We're trying, as you and I, to analyze it because you can analyze as good as I can analyze in far better than Wall Street analysts. Why can you do better than a Wall Street analyst that's paid 6 to 7 figures to do this? Because you're in the store. You're in the store, you're buying the products, and sometimes they're not. Sometimes they have maid or servants picking up their stuff for you. They're not, or they're using an app to buy the food. They're not actually in the store looking at the price of the goods. And if they are, they may not be focusing on it because they make too much money. They're not focusing on the milk or eggs is up 20 cents. You are, I am. And what happened? When you look at the core numbers compared to the month of June, like rent, the rent is straight up through the roof. The rent has not pulled back month to month. And if you believe the landlords are really happy with their full occupancy, which they are, they're not going to pull back and reduce the price of rent in the month of August. Absolutely not. About the month of September, no. Wage inflation is up straight as well. You think the employer is going to walk and say, I'm cutting your salary. No, they're not going to cut anyone's salary in the month of August. And what about the energy costs? It's bitterly hot here in Los Angeles today. You think people are cutting their AC if they have to? No, they are not. So energy costs, the same or higher in the month of August. Labor, who's going to cut anyone's labor? Who's going to give you cheaper rent tomorrow? There's no reason that the CPI print for the month of August released in September will be lower. Well, there you go. Your benefits going up. Exactly what we're thinking. So let's go back into the calculation of the benefits. Let's go back in the calculation of the benefits. Do we need to sit through 3 months of data? Lynn, Glenn, Diane, all those great questions. Do we really need to see 3 months of data? If we already see that inflation is really peaked or flattened out, but is not coming down, what do we need to know? Number one, I said on Friday that in my opinion, the top line number of inflation has peaked. But I said the core numbers like rent and food and energy has not peaked, that they're likely to pull down. And let me add in here, because it doesn't belong anywhere else, a lot of analysts believe that the price of energy is going to go back up. We'll discuss that later in this recording, if not on Evenings LA. So with that, I think you're in a really good spot for those lifetime arrays of your benefits. Let's go over how this calculates across the board. That's the unemployment graphic. So let me pull up the one for your benefits. Your benefits are going up a lot, and that is because inflation has not peaked. And why is that? Well, your benefits are tied to 3 months of data. July, August, and September. We already saw the July. We need to see the August, but we're living the August right now. And if you and I can sense what's going on with milk and eggs, we don't need to really see the data. If you and I can sense what's going on with the rent, you and I don't need to see the data. And that is how I've trained you to get a sense of how the situation is. So how much your benefits going up? Well, about $5,000. Some of you more, some of you less. Direct deposit? Yes, otherwise in the mail. Do you have to do anything? No. And who you, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits. Is it automatic? Yes. Is it the same percentage for everyone? Yes. And is this the word I love to say? Lifetime. It is lifetime. I mean, to think that I've been able to impact people's lifetime benefits is enormous. It's been happening sporadically over the last 2 years. This channel's been around where I got people on Snap, never knew that Snap existed. And they're relatively young people. They're in their 30s, their 40s, and they're going to have Snap for the rest of their life. Some of them are getting astronomical sums of money every year because of this channel. But now for all my beneficiaries, you're going to learn on this channel of how much your benefits are going to go up. And it's not going to be for this year. It's not going to be just for next year. It's going to be a lifetime stimulus, massive amounts of money. So let's go over everything you need to know about this. Direct deposit, yes. Otherwise in the mail, yes. Do you have to do anything? No. And how much? Well, this is where it gets really interesting. The Seniors League, which is a nonprofit organization, when looking at CPI print for Wednesday, that 8.5%, remember that number, 8.5%, said that your benefits are likely to go about 10%. The Social Security chief actuary, Steve Gross, has not given his number. My calculation will be much what you will probably say. That if I believe that inflation may actually stay where it is, or potentially go higher, then I think I'm happy with 10%. It may go a lot higher. And here is what you need to know, is that Wall Street executives and the Federal Reserve all believe that inflation is going to be pervasive, meaning it's not going to go down. So if it's not going to go down, there's a high likelihood it's going to go up. Higher again. In fact, we're going to see a lot of new quotes next week. I saw a few of them percolating over this weekend. That inflation may go right back up. This is just one number this week. The PPI was released on Thursday, Producer Price Index, which gauges how much the wholesaler is paying. And that number was basically flat again. So understand these numbers are not down, they're flat, flat. And so they can go back up. And if you and I all believe that they could go up because gasoline is going to go back up, that your heating oil, your electricity, or your wages, or your food and milk, which are all still going up month to month, then there's a very big likelihood that that number from the Seniors League is very undervalued. I think it is. Incredible news across the board. And with that, that's why you have to become a forced stimulus check. You have to get that forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. Pervasive inflation, no one wants. And you can't afford pervasive inflation, meaning that your eggs that you thought were too expensive 2 months ago could go even higher than it is. Yes. These incredible forced stimulus checks in every U.S. state all have been on this channel since the month of March. And let's go over everything you need to know about these incredible checks, where they came from, why they're there, and at issue, how they work. These incredible checks are huge, and you deserve them. What are they? Back in the month of March, viewers said, "LA, can you find me some checks?" And I did. That's about $100,000. It's a forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. Done by executive action from Joseph Biden. It means it's federal law. It's not state stimulus. It's about $100,000. And you generally qualify. Single individual, $75,000 less, go get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get it. If you rent, if you own, if you're on benefits, if you're not on benefits, go get it. Federal stimulus passed by the President of the United States by executive action in the month of March. You go get it. How do you get it? Step 1, go under this video, become a member. Step 2, join this, get that membership newsletter. And then Monday through Friday, go through that incredible newsletter and get these huge checks. We're going to go over all the remainder of these checks. You met the brand new 7 checks early in this recording. We're going to go over the remainder of these checks in the big second half. Step 1, join this channel. Step 2, stay the big second half as we go over these incredible checks. Step 3, go through that incredible membership newsletter and get them. One of the benefits of becoming a member is those LATE worksheets. And boy, they are really helpful. They are really helpful. And I want to congratulate another viewer. Oh boy, I rushed on camera, but I think I remember the number. It was 14,000 or 18,000. It's just incredible. It's rent. It's rent. It's a brand new viewer. It came in on Saturday, so it's less than 24 hours old, this story. It may look like the other ones. It's different. Last week, we had a 14,000 for rent. We had a 12,000 for utilities. The week before that, we had Spelly, who got check A and check C's. And now we have another viewer getting either 14 or 18,000. I have it ready for Eden's LA because I was rushed coming on camera today. It's just incredible. And then, of course, one viewer who got nearly $100,000 and 80 checks. We're going to go over her story in just a second. Let's pull out those worksheets. Here they are. How do you get them? You open the membership newsletter. Down around the third line of the membership newsletter, it says click here for the worksheets. It's in the newsletter. And the worksheets are a series of pages. You print them out. This is them, about 7 pages of PDF. You print them out, and you go through them and take notes on them. If you don't have a printer, you can take notes on a separate piece of paper. Inflation, what did we learn today? Inflation, in my opinion, has peaked as to the top line number, the headline number, the summary number. But the core number is not peaking. Rent, food, there's no indication that they've peaked whatsoever. Recession, if we have time, we're going to go in the second half over this recession. No recession versus yes recession. And we'll have more about this in evening's LA. My opinion is recession very pervasive and will be going on for 2 years and getting a lot worse. Labor, 260,000 new jobless claims, the highest number of 2022. That happened last Thursday, likely go higher. And the Federal Reserve is off in August. They're going to do a 75 basis point, in my opinion, in that September FOMC meeting and hit it really hard week after week throughout the fall. We'll go over more about that in the big second half. This is the page is really the big winner for viewers. This incredible page is where you keep track of your checks you applied for, because you're going to be applying for a lot of checks. You saw today that there's 7 new checks. That's 7 on top of 3. That's 10 checks. And each of those individual checks have sometimes 12 different subparts. So, there's a lot of checks. I can't even add that out, but we'll try it in the second half. There's a lot of checks. You need to have the ability to keep track of those checks, and I make a beautiful table for you. One viewer did that. She just didn't look at her notes. She didn't look at her worksheet. And she got that wonderful message from the state of Florida saying, "Ma'am, you've been approved." Wow, congratulations. What did you get approved for? Check B. Oh, good. What? Her mortgage. Oh, very good. 1 month? No, 18 months. 18 months of her mortgage. My goodness. That is incredible. 18 months of her mortgage. That's not $1,000. That's tens of thousands of dollars. But it gets better than that. She also got applied for her utilities. her utilities. And she got approved, yes. For all those 18 months, yes. So that's 4 utilities plus the mortgage. That's 5 checks per month, approximately. 5 checks per month times 18 months. 5 times 18. That's over 80 to plus checks, 80 to 100 checks. That is not $10,000. That's close to $100,000. It's incredible. Her success story is one of many, and you got to stay with it. You got to stay with it. And if you were a member and you're not a member, you need to come on back in because now there's 7 new checks. It just never stops. The notion of the end story is not here. It just never ends. On Evenings LA, we're going to go over that fifth stimulus, the next page of the worksheet, and the raise of your benefits. Then we'll go over gasoline. That is a very fascinating story. Is gasoline going back up? It is. But when? I'll have the latest details on Evenings at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And then we have that student loan debt forgiveness. When is he going to sign that? I don't know. It's just sort of like when, where, and how. $10,000 for individuals who make $150,000 or less. And he already forgave other debts in recent weeks. We'll feature that more on Evenings LA. Here's what you need to know going into the big second half of this recording. First, major issues hitting this economy, and they do not overlap. Pervasive inflation, which inflation continues month after month, either is flat or goes higher, has nothing to do with recession. It does cause problems for a recession, or does send you into recession through a series of domino events, but the fact that you may not have a recession doesn't mean that you won't have inflation. The fact that you have inflation doesn't mean you won't have recession. So they're two very different economic events that are happening, and they have very different elements to them. And we'll go over everything you need to know in the big second half. We'll go over that recession. We'll go over all those incredible stimulus checks, and we'll go over those 7 new checks, plus those lifetime benefits. Boy, we're getting started. Plus, we'll have a preview of what you need to know for the new week. And then you'll have my insight as to mindset in an economy in which the situation is relatively complex. There's a lot to know, and we're just getting started. What do you need to know? 1, stay the second half. Second, 2, get ready for those 4 stimulus checks. Go around this video and become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Barrack Casino VIP. And then get ready to get new checks as well. Oh boy, we got a lot coming up the big second half. I'll see you back in 60 seconds as a beautiful Afternoons LA for August 14th continues. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, we are just getting started, baby. See you back in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then Afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues in a big second half for August 14, 2022, from the blistering hot Santa Monica, California. In a new week, we're going to go see whether those unemployment claims surge and whether that balances off that confusion of that low unemployment rate. Very confusing. We'll see more indication of whether inflation is actually going to go back up, and that could signal even more benefits. Rises. A lot of analysts believe that the data that was released last week is not a peaking, and there could be more issues ahead hand. Where would we see it? We would see it in this data, the housing data. Very much impacted by inflation. We did not have a lot of housing data the last 14 days. It's coming this new week as well. A lot to go over, plus your big stimulus. Oh my goodness, what a big second half we have. Your inflation, your benefit raises, your housing market, your unemployment, and your fourth stimulus. The breaking news continues right now in the big second half. How are you? It's August 14th, 2022. It's a great day because 7 new stimulus checks are landing in the membership newsletter starting tomorrow, August 15th, and thereafter every night across the board. 7 stimulus checks, which became part of a legislation passed this weekend from Congress, and it's really quite interesting, very fascinating. They all operate in a very different way, one than another, and it's too much to put in any single recording, but as a member, it will be in the newsletter. And that newsletter will have them lettered as follows. From check from check E to check K. That is check E to check K are the brand new stimulus items in the membership newsletter starting on August 15th going forward. I'll give you details about it, and it's just incredible. Now, with that, let's go over the incredible first checks at issue, check A, B, and C. These 4 stimulus checks were found by me in the month of March when viewers said, "Hey, I'd find us some checks." Find up some checks, and I did. At the time, the President of the United States was actually signing a series of executive actions, so it was perfect timing. And I had 2 focuses at the time, big checks and big eligibility. And these checks are absolutely incredible. First, about $100,000. Second, you qualify. Single individual, $75,000 less, go get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get it. If you rent, if you own, if you don't, if you're on benefits, if you're not on benefits, go get them as well. How do you get them? Step 1, go under this video, become a member. Get that incredible membership newsletter Monday through Friday. Step 2, go through that membership newsletter and get all these incredible checks, plus the new checks of E2K, starting on a beautiful Monday, August 15th, across the board. Let's go over all these incredible first checks of A, B, and C, starting right now. Check A is a $6,500 to $12,000 fourth stimulus check in every U.S. state. Single individual, $75,000 less, go get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get it. There is that wonderful check A. How do you get check A? Step 1, go under this video, become a member. Go right down that membership newsletter to find check A. Click the link, it sends you right into the nationwide website. Then choose your state and go get it. It is the weatherizing grant. That is the check that Spelly got. And that is the incredible $6,500 to $12,000. You're not going to stop there yet. You're going to go get check B. Check B is a wonderful, that sounds like Wonderbolt. Wonderful $15,000 to $80,000 fourth stimulus check in every U.S. state. This is the check the viewer out of Florida got. She got 80 plus of these checks. A lot of viewers are getting more than 80,000. How do you get that wonderful check A? Check B. Step 1, subscribe. Step 2, go into the video, join the channel. Step 3, go to the membership newsletter. Do you find check B? Click the link and go in and get it. Incredible. Check B and check A, that is $100,000 right there. You're not done there yet. You're going to go get check C. This is among the checks that the viewers have been getting. Spelly got it. The viewer who got 14 months of checks, rent, got it. The other viewer got $14,000 to $18,000 of rent. The other viewer got $12,000 of utilities. This is check C. We've been getting these checks for a long time. How do you get check C? Become a member. Go into the membership newsletter. It tells you who to call, what to say, and how to say it. These incredible stories, success stories for check C have been on this channel for a long time because it was around after first stimulus. Then it was around in third stimulus, and this is the residue of third stimulus. Do you want these big sums of money for rent? Then go get check C. Look at that. All the way up to $30,000. Incredible. Do you want these massive sums of money for utilities? Go get check C. Look at that. Huge. And one viewer last week getting $12,000 for utilities. Do you want this sums of money for SNAP? $250,000. Mark's brother-in-law is getting combinations. Nisi went from $23,000 to $50,000. Mark went from $32,000 to $166,000. Yes, one viewer got $166,000 from this channel, but he's not one story. We have this happening all the time. And then Mark went from this graphic to 100,000. Then he got check B. Lorraine, she went from 105 to a whopping 166. And imagine viewers have been getting 100, 200,000 plus from this channel. And now tonight we have the wonderful new checks of E, F, G, H, I, J, and K. They're all in the membership newsletter. So if you have had a success story or you're new to this channel, go get check A all the way to check K in the membership newsletter. You need to go keep on applying. And my focus will always be the same: find you more checks across the board. Step one, go on this video, subscribe. You're watching LALATE, the #3 most watched financial news channel in America, broadcasting 24/7, even on the weekend with brand new shows. And who would know that on a weekend, I'd find for you 7 new checks. That's why you can't miss anything across the board. Every day that you miss something, you are actually later in behind beside someone else applying for the money. You want to be first come, first serve and get right in line so that the money doesn't run out before you apply. Step 1, subscribe. Step 2, go into the video and join the channel. Become a member. Go down that membership newsletter to get those incredible checks one at a time. Step 3, go to the front of the channel and hit that bell so you have all notifications set to all on. And absolutely do what Lorraine and Johnny and Margaret and Nisi do. Watch all the videos and make sure you keep on applying for checks. I know that Lorraine, I know that Margaret, I know that Nisi are going to hear this recording tonight and say, new checks? I'm going to go get some of those as well because they are huge. I mean, imagine a $14,000 check. Just absolutely incredible across the board. Now, what do you also need to know? You also need to know that this economy is a very, very difficult economy to analyze. It's a very difficult economy to analyze that people could not agree upon where it's going. And that ultimately, that is the value also of a membership, because the membership newsletter gives you the details on where this economy is going and what's happening with it. What's at issue? Number 1. Is there a recession underway, or is there not a recession underway? And if the recession's underway, is it going to soften and be quick and done in a second, or is it going to be longer? If you take the bond traders with their inversion curve, you take the oil traders with their trading down of gasoline based upon a recessionary environment, and you take me and you take the Federal Reserve saying that inflation is going to be pervasive, has not gone down, and we're continuing interest rates spike over and over again till we get down to 2%, which is a long way for inflation when it's 8% now in nearly September. That massive camp is all saying there's nothing to say that we're far away from recession. The Federal Reserve is never going to say if there is a recession or not a recession, but they're also not going to say we're definitely out of the woods on anything. The inversion curve of the bond traders is happening because the bond traders believe a recession is going to be here and pervasive. Back in February, I was the only American broadcaster to record that the U.S. economy would have a recession, would be pervasive, would be 2 years of recession. What are the warning signals of recession? Number 1, stocks trade down initially, but they ultimately go down 50%. They're only down 23%. So to think that stocks are trading up since the month of June and there won't be a recession is not understanding how stocks work. Stocks go up, stocks go down. The fact that they've been trading up since the month of June, and I know Tesla's gone through the roof in the last 3 days, absolutely through the roof, that doesn't mean you don't have a recession. They can go right back the other way. Number 2, there's a lot of great analyst reports this last week, and I detail them on this channel, that some companies, like an Apple, like a Tesla, like a Starbucks, will be able to endure a recession and won't really feel a major hit to their bottom line. Whereas very small companies that have a lot of cash on hand that are really struggling, even as publicly traded, will go under. So don't believe that just because one company does really well in a recession, that there's no recession. Number 3, labor doesn't fall apart at the start of a recession. It falls apart at the end of the recession, because companies that don't survive well in a recession lay you off. Then when you lay you off, then labor falls apart. Labor's really strong, so don't believe that labor doesn't fall apart in a recession. It does later in it. On the other side of the equation is the stock traders. They believe there is no recession because the unemployment rate is so low and the stocks have gone straight up since the month of June. That is really, I was going to use a word, disingenuous. It's ridiculous. There's a lot of things to say. First, if you know anything about the stock market, it's always likely trade in the month of August. There's very little volume in the month of August. So never use August as an indication of what's going on with the market. Number 2, there's a lot of companies that are doing well in this environment. And I got to tell you, I was in a supermarket yesterday. It's not your Costco, but it's sort of like your Costco. It's here in Southern California. And I go in there almost every week or every 2 weeks. I've had a lot of problems buying products for months. Products are out of shelf. The shelves are empty. They're out of stock. There's nothing there. The prices are overpriced, or they're pulling back. I went in there yesterday. They literally had every single item on the shelf. I was in celebration mode. They had bacon, yeah. They had every single shelf stocked like you could not imagine. All the things that I've been looking for months were no longer hit by supply chain disruption. Whoa, that's a major one. Number two, the prices really look like the normal prices of 2021 or 2020. They're just basically normal prices once again. Number three, I didn't really see anything where there was any economic environment hitting anything. I didn't see price gouging or disappearing items, or they replaced it with a higher quality. It just looked like a normal day at the market and everything was stocked. I got to tell you, I literally went like that. I'm like, what happened? What happened? I'm seeing other industries, which I don't really want to discuss too much on camera, where they have really made a massive turn in the last 30 days that they look very normalized. I don't mean that they're overpricing. I just think that they look very normal suddenly in the last 60 days. Normalization is good for growth. So that's good for growth, and that may signal no recession. But I got to tell you, supply chain disruption easing does not mean there's no recession either. What do you need to know? You need to know that there's a final message for me today. And that final message for me today is sort of a hard message I have to deliver with some tough love, but I have to be really on point. Some people think that the federal government has to give them money. It might just have to be given money, some people think. Federal government doesn't have to give you anything. And the notion that that's the way that 2020 started is untrue. 2020 did not start with the federal government giving you money. You had to apply for PPP, you had to apply for EIDL, PUA, FPUC. You had to go and do something to get the money. The core of this channel has been those viewers that have understood you have to go do something to get the money. 7 new stimulus checks, you got to go do them today. And so for people who don't want to do anything, we gave them names like donut guy and donut gal. You have to actually do even more than you would have done even 30 days or 60 days ago. Now you need to know where this economy is because recession's hitting. Now you need to know where inflation is because inflation is still pervasive. Now you need to know the value of your money. And that is why it's a fun channel. I try to make sure that it's a fun, educational, interactive, great, exciting place to be on here. Because there's a lot to know and no one wants to be talking about economic problems because it does have an element of, But so I have to keep it lighthearted. I have to keep it fun. I have to keep it interactive, but I also have to keep you engaged. And engaged means knowing what's going on, preparing yourself accordingly. And that's why there's a lot coming to this family. Cooking shows, humor shows, health and beauty, stocks, crypto. Lot of everything, because ultimately it's part of a community, it's part of an engagement, it's part of an experience. And while we're in that experience, we learn. As we learn, we earn. And that is really the true testament to this family. That's the true purple power spirit, a community that interacts with people. We always used to have a laugh when Sirloin would air and someone says, I don't want to hear humor, I just want to hear my check. Well, that wasn't really going to work because a lot of people needed humor. A lot of people needed humor during the tough times of the pandemic. Now that we have an inflation and now that we have a pervasive recession, perhaps you need humor. You need to You need to pop in a lock-in and waving a checks and wave back at you and staying away from San Francisco hair sauce. You need it all. And we demand it all. And it will be coming all to this channel. So thank you for staying with it and get ready for more of it. More of everything you want. And if you want something, as one viewer said, bring back crypto, I'm bringing back crypto. If you want something I've not mentioned that you saw before, or it's something you never saw and you want it added, we got 3 channels with 24 hours a day, 7 days of programming. One of the oldest news sites of 20 years. If you want something, there's a place for me to get it in there. So send me a beautiful message on Facebook, private message at LA News, and I'll feature it on air. We're just getting started. E-News LA comes up tonight at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And don't forget to jump in the live chat. And please go get some more checks. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, remember the financial cliff is just around the corner. Stay informed, stay focused. Have a beautiful day. Become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Join the channel that is making people's lives better. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful afternoon. Thank you for joining me. Stay cool. I know it's brutally hot in some parts of the country. And stay here throughout the night and the afternoon because the programming is continuing as LALATE continues into evenings.